It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You Like.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. We are on the Rogue Media Network. Scotty Swingler riding shotgun. Chris Visser in Orlando, Florida. We are talking to Chris Hummer from CBS Sports coming up in about 20, 25 minutes, exactly about the transfer portal, college football, and basically we're talking about college football free agency, and we're presented by Slovacics, which if you are free this weekend, you're going to want to use agency and get over there, okay? Don't be a fool. Go to Slovacics, especially if you're on the road, burning up I-35, right? You got to stop at Slovacics. You're going to want to pick stuff up to watch the big game tonight. Oklahoma and Alabama, kolaches go very good with college football playoffs. And we're also partnering with Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, as always. Socorro Family Ford, First National Bank of Central Texas, and Crawford Austin Properties. Gordon Harriman doing just does an amazing job helping us out, making it happen here. Gordon is the proprietor of Crawford Austin Properties. They do a great job with commercial real estate. You want to open up a Pizza Hut or a tanning salon, right? You want to be a franchisee here in Central Texas? Look, get in touch with Gordon. He'll help you out. He'll find you a spot. Crawford Austin Properties. Okay, so I mentioned we're going to have Hummer on to talk a little bit about the transfer portal. And then I awake this morning to, I'll call him a distant friend of the show, from Rockwall Heath High School, Josh Hoover, right? His sister Hannah Hoover has been on our show before. I've called a couple of Josh's games at TCU, and the guy is listed at 6'2", maybe not quite 6'2", but he's known as a gunslinger, and that is every bit as true as the name. He is a gunslinger, and he has now ascended to be one of the top quarterbacks in the transfer portal. Immediately, you saw him linked to Indiana, okay? I would say I would advise caution with that, just to go right ahead and say, okay, Josh is going to go to said school, right? I truly believe right now, like if you look around the landscape of college football, my immediate gut instinct was to say, okay, well, you know, he has an amazing relationship with Kendall Briles. Kendall Briles is now the offensive coordinator at South Carolina. Well, Lenora Sellers is planning to stay at South Carolina. Correct, Scotty? Yeah. I got an yeah out of my man over there. So, but he has announced that he will stay. So I don't know. Josh has 1 year of eligibility left. Do you want to spend it backing up Lenora Sellers? Probably not. And then you talk about, look, I know for a fact, just from doing a little bit of research and asking around, you know, one of the biggest things that he's looking for in the portal is he wants a system that fits his quarterbacking style. Scotty, are you familiar with the system that might fit his style, a school here in Central Texas? I think I am. I think I am. Is this a guy that a school down the road could probably afford, as opposed to backing up the Brinks truck and everything that they had in the NIL budget for DJ Lagway? I feel like there's something coming together here. I really do. And if you consider who Josh is as a man, and again, Hannah joined us in October. Hannah Hoover, by the way, she's got a big night tonight. Oklahoma. She's out of Oklahoma City as a sports anchor reporter there. And you can bet she'll be in Norman for the big one tonight. I mean, who else would you rather have covering college football for your local television outlet than Hannah Hoover? I mean, she knows sports backwards and forwards. And it's in her DNA. Look no further than her brother. But when I talk to her about her brother, and when you talk to her, there is a light that shines off these Hoovers, right? And it is something that you would refer to me as a man of God as the sunlight of the spirit, okay? Whether you got God or a higher power or however you operate, you know, we say in the 12-step program I'm in, hey, so long as it's not you. You're like, I got a God and it ain't Pete. I can promise you that, right? But Josh is strong in his faith. And, you know, a place to practice that faith is Baylor. That's a great place to practice that faith. And we look at Sawyer Robertson like he was a poster boy for that. I would not be shocked if there was something cooking here with that. And I'm the first to say it. What do you think about that? Scotty, I'd like to bring you up because this is a rather interesting hot topic, and you are a resident Baylor expert.
Ooh, expert.
You're not just our resident Baylor expert. You are the Baylor expert.
The expert.
Will there be a Please Bear With Me this weekend?
No, we're done. We're done, Pete. We're done for the season. But we can call an emergency pod if something.
Yeah, like
develops.
if something crazy happened. Like
we could do that. If like Lagway suddenly signed or Josh Hoover, yeah, we could do that.
Well, now we're just spitballing here, but I mean, dude, how much sense does it make for him to go to Baylor? Truly. I mean, think about it. Just on paper, like.
I disagree with you. I don't think it makes any sense.
Bring it.
To go to a program that won less games this season with no offensive weapons returning from last year's team. You're not going to a more prestigious school as much as I think Baylor's better than TCU, whatever. Like they're pretty much the same place. I guess I like Jake Spavital.
Yeah, that's my main.
I understand, but I think the buzz around like in Indiana, which was kind of the common narrative when this news dropped, or a number of other schools looking for a quarterback, is you can go, what do you get if you leave TCU? Well, there's two things. And I don't know the Hoovers like you do, but there's two things.
I mean, I don't know him super well.
You can go get money or
not what this kid's about. Not even close.
I believe you, but he can demand his value, which I think might be higher than what you're acting like it is at this moment. And you can go chase a championship. And I don't think you can get either at Baylor right now. I don't know why the Baylor move would make sense for him.
Okay, I think because of Spav, and because it's close to home, and because he loves Texas.
But just playing for Spav on a 5-win team with no receivers right now make more sense than going to Oregon?
Well, I think
does that make more sense than going to Penn State with Matt Campbell? Does that make more sense than going to Indiana to just put a quarterback with the Heisman Trophy like that? By the way, Indiana keeping their OC, that doesn't make Baylor doesn't make more sense than those places.
Okay,
to me.
Fair enough. I do believe though. I don't think you can discount confidence and ego. And when you go into a program and you look at it, you don't say, okay, well, this is a 5-win team with me. I think you say, if I join this program, this is now. He's won 8 games 2 years in a row, right?
But he's not better than Sawyer Robertson.
You don't think?
No, I think they're very similar.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason that most of the season they were the two passing leaders in the Big 12.
So let me ask you this just for fun. How do you think Sawyer Robertson would have done wearing an Indiana jersey this year?
Same thing. Heisman Trophy.
You think Sawyer would have won the Heisman if he played at Indiana?
Yeah. That's the best team in football, Pete.
That's a sizzling hot take.
No, it's not. Mendoza threw for 2,900 yards, Pete. It's the worst passing performance by a Heisman winning quarterback ever. Yeah. And I like him. I like Fernando Mendoza. Yeah. He would have gotten my second place vote behind Jacob Rodriguez. But
I love how you said behind Jacob Rodriguez.
Yeah, Jacob Rodriguez should have won the Heisman.
Sneaky hot take.
He should have won the Heisman. But he's the best player in college football. But yes. Do I think Sawyer with that offense, that defense on the other side, that line, those weapons, Indiana's got good weapons now.
Yeah.
Those receivers, by the way, have bailed Mendoza out in a couple of close ball games late, making incredible plays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Penn State.
Do I think and do I think Sawyer Robertson is a better stand in the pocket and throw the football guy? Yes. And maybe that's because I'm biased and
I appreciate that take. I asked a question for a reason. Like, I wanted some perspective on that because I think you're probably right.
I think Hoover, I think Levitt, probably those two at the top. But if it's Messmaker, if it's Raiola, if any of those guys get a call from Kurt Signetti, you should listen.
You know what's interesting now? And again, we can talk to Chris Hummer about this coming up. Like, there's almost a bit of a logjam now, free agency. It's like, right? Like you got to kind of wait and see, like, who's going to go where?
Well,
right? Sorsby's probably going to go to Tech, right?
Sorsby's at Tech. That's all but confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah. So where do we know about, where will what's his face? His name's escaping me right now. One of the other big quarterbacks out there. Sorsby going to Tech. We don't know where Lagway's going to go. It's a total domino.
Well, here's what that means. If Dante Moore goes pro from Oregon, it means Dan Lanning, Kurt Signetti, and Lane Kiffin at LSU have their pick, bro.
Yeah.
Those three guys, because those are the three places. If I'm a transfer quarterback, those are the three places I want calling me. I want Indiana and Oregon playoff programs that have had success with multiple quarterbacks now for multiple years. I want them calling me. And I want Lane Kiffin calling me because he makes quarterbacks look great. And Trinidad Chambliss has to get a waiver from the NCAA to play another year. So those are the three guys I want calling me.
I will tell you, last year Josh was playing golf somewhere, and I think he told the story to Pete Thamel. Either way, it was over the summer, and his agent called him and said, "Hey, Tennessee wants to give you a bag." And Josh said before he got off the phone, "Hey, I'm not going anywhere. I want to stay at TCU." Now, Tennessee.
So what changed? Is it just because Kendall Briles left?
Well, yeah, I think so. I'm dude. You're a young man, life experience, the portal. A lot of conversations. Obviously, he feels like he's reached his full potential at TCU, right? And I think there's another,
which is why I don't know why Baylor would make sense.
Yeah.
From an 8-win team.
Well,
to
the Kendall Briles absence is huge. Like he goes back to like all the way to high school.
Yeah.
Like his high school coach at Rockwall Heath, I think played for or coached for Briles at Houston, was extremely close with Kendall. That was the relationship that got Josh to TCU.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of belief. So that could be a much stronger relationship than we're kind of giving credit to right now. Like without Kendall, there's no, connection to the program anymore, or not as strong as there was prior, but now we're just speculating, but
here's the other place where I disagree with you. You said, it makes sense for Baylor because they don't have to back up a Brinks truck like they would for DJ Lagway. Does Josh Hoover not automatically become the most valuable quarterback in the portal right now?
I don't know, man.
That's a sincere question.
Yeah.
Because Raiola, let me break it down for you.
Yeah.
Raiola and Lagway are the 5 stars out of high school with the crazy high ceiling that haven't proven it yet.
Yeah.
Right? They've both had middling results at the college level for different reasons. Okay. It's maybe not all their fault, but those two, high ceiling, haven't proven it. You've got a guy like Messmaker, and I would even maybe put Levitt in this category, who had a flash and had a year, but I also don't think they're very proven. Sorry, Sam Levitt took a step back this year, then struggled with some injuries. Arizona State wasn't great. And on that Big 12 championship run, you could argue he benefited from having Cam Scattaboo in the backfield tremendously.
Yeah.
So Levitt and Messmaker are going to have some question marks around them for different reasons. What are the question marks around Josh Hoover? There really aren't any.
Well, I think
what you're getting.
I think one thing about Josh Hoover is, and this is financially why he makes a little more sense at some places. A lot of these agents and players are now looking for guaranteed 2-year deals. He can only sign for 1 year.
Sure.
So the commitment to it, because remember, we talked to Mosley about this, and we can ask Hummer about this. The Lagway thing is like $8-10 million maybe
for 2 years. Yeah.
Yikes. So maybe Josh is 3.5 for 1 year.
I think if I'm looking at the quarterbacks in the portal,
got to be fun to put all the quarterbacks up there and get like somebody who knows what's going on to give us a value.
Well, we're going to do it in 15 minutes. Dude, honestly, sincerely, I'm sitting here thinking about this, and I think Hoover is the safest. I'm not saying he has the highest upside, but I think, if you bring that guy to Indiana, he's going to throw dots. He's going to command the offense. He's going to be class personified on and off the field.
Yep.
We don't know that about all these cats. And I think DJ Lagway is a good dude, and I think he's good. And but again, there are question marks.
Yeah, dude, if I want somebody,
these quarterbacks,
I would love Josh Hoover representing my program.
You're going to get production. You're going to get accuracy. You're going to get a leader.
Yeah.
Seriously, why wouldn't Lanning, Kiffin, or Signetti call him?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. You ready? Christy Soto. All right, stop. Don't do anything. You're on the air right now. Do you want to say anything to the people watching the Pete Sousa show? This is Christy Soto. She is the best news anchor in all of America. I'm not lying either. She's on in Fort Myers, right? What's the station again?
Gulf Coast News.
Well, what's the affiliate? Is it NBC?
It's an NBC affiliate.
NBC affiliate. Legit. She is one of the best anchors. Trust me. All right, I'll call you later, okay? All right, bye. Love you too. Bye. Christy, Baylor grad. All right, come on back, Scotty. Christy's she's a very impressive. She's a Baylor grad, right?
Why didn't you ask her if Josh Hoover's coming to Baylor?
Because she don't know. She doesn't know who Josh is. That would have gotten him. But she's just not, she's not dialed in like that. But I'll tell you, if I were to ask her about what's your boy, Bryce? Oh, she could tell me all about him, dude. Bryce Petty. Yeah. I think Bryce was at school when she was there or was on his way out. She's a huge Bryce fan. She's one of those people just like you that was completely very, very involved and touched by that Baylor run, like in the mid 2010s. I mean, just
it was
special stuff.
It was special.
All right, so back to the portal. I like what you were saying a lot about like who's to say like anybody is more valuable than Josh, because when you take in the totality of who he is as a person and a quarterback, that maybe I guess I'm underestimating him. I guess I am, unfortunately.
I think he's, and again, I keep thinking through all these names and I'm like, if I were putting value on it, man, I think it would be Hoover. It'd be Messmaker, but I'd be so afraid of a kid that only had a good season at North Texas and didn't win against the biggest opponents.
Dude, me too. By the way, the Messmaker stuff, I'm sorry. I'm that guy that like, I don't know, man.
I don't know either. That's what I'm saying. But it would be Hoover. It might be him. And then, like Lagway and Raiola can be really exciting. But you also, with Raiola, kind of get a head case with his daddy being involved, and with Lagway, you just don't know. Is he the high ceiling, crazy talented kid we all think he is, or is he going to be just okay?
Yeah.
And you're paying $5 million for just okay. Like, we don't know. Hoover, you could pay $4 million, and it's like accurate, delivers the football on time, will command the offense, lead well. If I've got weapons around him, we're unstoppable.
I got one question to push back on you a little bit. Why did we sit here and talk yesterday and 2 days ago that DJ Lagway is a reality and Josh Hoover is not?
Because DJ Lagway grew up going to Baylor games and his father played at Baylor.
Okay. All right.
And he has articulated out loud that Baylor is an option, and he was verbally committed to Baylor before flipping.
Well, that's all very good.
There's multiple reasons. Like Baylor's always been an option for him. I think even in the back of his mind, probably this past year at Florida, he's like, man, what if I gone to Baylor? And he probably wants to play at Baylor for the same reason you suggest Josh might, get in Spav's offense. It's a very quarterback friendly system. Okay. But I think it makes sense for him coming off a 4-win team where they're having a full regime change over there. And there's some mixed feelings about him. If he came to Baylor, he'd be hailed a hero. Like, we'd be throwing a party that we got DJ Lagway. If Hoover comes here, I think we'd be excited. But like, again, he's going from 8 wins to 5, from a, coaching staff that went to a national championship to a coaching staff that can't win 6 games a season. Like, I don't know why he'd do it. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think he's going to cost just as much.
Okay. All right. There he is, Scotty Swingler. We'll call him back in a little bit.
We'll see. But Chris Hummer might jump on here and be like, Scotty's crazy.
No, I think that's dude. I think you're pretty thoughtful with that analysis, and it's good to have some checks and balances around here. That's for sure. Because I would have had him as the Baylor opening day starter if I'd kept going alone. So let's look right now at these are the top 5 quarterbacks. Let's see. No, what is this now? These are the top 5 landing spots for Josh Hoover. This is according to Dustin Lewis, right? From College Football HQ at Sports Illustrated. He says Indiana, Miami, Oregon, Texas Tech, Houston. Huh. Well, that's interesting.
That one doesn't make sense to me.
Junior star. Yeah, he has. Wakeman's got another season left.
He's got another season, and they just signed the #1 guy in their class for out of high school.
Yeah.
That's a good quarterback room.
You got to be careful what you read on the interweb here. One thing I want to talk about before we take a break and get to Chris Hummer. I watched Thursday Night Football last night, just the end of it, before being honest. Probably, it dawned on me as I was watching, probably the biggest Thursday Night Football game we've had in over a decade. I was like trying to rack my brain. It was such a huge game. What I noticed from watching it, and if you're at all in tune with how I think here on this show and what I've talked about regarding broadcasters, Al Michaels came back to life last night. It was, and it's, you want to talk about a guy, you think maybe Al Michaels is old. Okay. He is. And he's just not as easily excited. I think the biggest knock on Al was 2021, I guess, when the Chargers came back to beat Jacksonville in that playoff game. And it was, Al didn't really get excited, right? He kind of like, people were kind of pissed. That was still on, he was still on NBC at the time. And so like ever since that game, Al, he was sort of relegated to Amazon, and, he refuses to go away, according to some people. Last night, Al Michaels was supercharged, and it was like you could feel the emotion in his voice. Here's a great example. Amazon came back, and the game was in overtime, and they came back early, and Al was on a hot mic, and he said out loud, man, the Rams haven't done anything in 20 minutes. Now, this is a low bar to set, but I would say in 98% of broadcasts, if you had that hot mic moment for Al Michaels going into overtime, he would say, like, man, I wish we could get the hell out of here. That was not the case. Al Michaels was fully engaged last night. And honestly, to me, that's terrific. I love Al and Kirk Herbstreit together. It's becoming now one of the more underrated duos in broadcasting, because Herbstreit will not let Al phase him. Like, Herbstreit is going to be uber positive, excited. He's going to be the same Herbstreit he is in his analysis, especially now after working with Al for a little bit. And you can tell, like, Herbie's he's still that excited puppy dog that wants to talk about the game. And Al's like that old dog on the block. It's like, yeah, whatever. I'm going to stay on the porch. You go out there. And the two of them, I think, work pretty well together. I wish they would get a playoff game. I don't know that they have one off the top of my head. I don't think they do. But I was really excited about Al Michaels last night. And honestly, at the end of the game, I was happy for Sam Darnold. Like he turned it around, the narrative that he can't win any big games. And I was pumped for him. And I think that could really spell a positive future for the Seahawks, because that was a huge game. By the way, yesterday, the Pete Sousa show was kind of all over that game. Our friend of the show, Chad Brown, he raised the flag, the 12th man flag, before the game. Obviously, we talked to Sean Alexander yesterday. An amazing interview. You can catch it. It's on the Pete Sousa show channel. It's up there right now. Also, you can see what we said and talked about with Teddy Lehman. There's like 12,000 views on that as we previewed tonight's game with him. He's an Oklahoma legend earlier in the week. And then we talked about Texas A&M playing Miami with Kevin Smith, Cowboys legend, and A&M legend. And then we talked with Darren Smith, linebacker for the Cowboys and Miami, about Texas A&M Miami as well. It's all living on the Pete Sousa page. We also did a riff yesterday about Biff Poggi and why I think he's going to be the next coach of Michigan, why that makes the most sense, and how the last thing you would have ever thought was that Baylor's blueprint out of the woods when the Mack Rhodes scandal hit would actually maybe be a blueprint that a school like Michigan could use. Because right now, Michigan's athletic department, and even they don't have a president right now, there's a lot in flux there. So I think they have to find some stability there before they find a head coach. And I think that's why Poggi could be the guy who kind of holds the line. All right, we're going to step aside, take a break. We're going to come back with Chris Hummer from CBS Sports, talking about college football, the transfer portal, and we'll maybe see what Chris thinks about tonight's ball games. The Pete Sousa Show returns after this. We're presented by Slovakics.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB, your bank for life, takes pride in being more than a bank. TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, your bank for life.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
What if you could clean clean? with bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
Welcome to Kit Bag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kit Bag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com, Kit Bag.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. At Toussaint's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Toussaint's.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mullybox, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
Everybody at Ecolife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone, like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com. Stability.
It is the Pete Sousa Show on a Friday. We're talking transfer portal. Man, it just never stops. And Chris Hummer has been all around the musical chairs for many years now, and he joins us now, CBS Sports, 24/7 Sports. Chris, man, I mean, no days off, dude. Josh Hoover this morning, big news. You know, that's the first thing I want to chat with you about. Where do you come down with Josh Hoover in this transfer portal quarterback class? Where do you have him right now?
I think we have him as the fourth best quarterback. So our we have a rankings team over at 24/7 that just is grinding tape all winter long, and I think they have him 4 behind Sorsby, Lagway, Rayola, and then it's Hoover. But I mean, it's all eye of the beholder, right? Like, to the right team, Josh Hoover's worth a lot. And I mean, he was worth a lot to TCU and he still left the building. So you know how that goes.
He was a surprise. I didn't see this coming. You know, I called a few of his games, and he really, and I know he's authentic, and I don't think any of it was rubbish, but he was a TCU guy. Loved Fort Worth, family at every game, easy for them to make it. They live in the DFW. Obviously, Kendall Briles goes to South Carolina. I'm guessing that maybe changed a little bit of his thinking, but where would you see a guy like Josh Hoover ending up? Where do you think he would fit personality-wise and as a player?
Well, I will say this has been an evolving situation over the last week or two. There had been a lot of talk that he could go, and it kind of came to a head last night. As for where he could go, like I've heard a couple teams associated with him, but the team I've heard the most is Indiana. Indiana is the team that has come up pretty consistently with Hoover over the last week. Obviously, Kurt Sigonetti's history of turning quarterbacks into high-level draft picks is very obvious. And if you look at Hoover's skill set, like he fits it pretty well. It's going to be like timing, RPO stuff that he does a lot in that system. Hoover does a lot of that really well. Hoover might have to clean up a bit of his mechanics because I think they got a little off this year in some ways. At least that's the word on the street. But if he goes to a place like that, it's a really good fit.
When you look at some of these guys, Chris, and what they're looking for, whether it's financially or stability-wise, what are the contracts like looking like? Like, and here's an example. If I'm going to sign or try to sign a Josh Hoover, my commitment regarding, just as we're reflecting his eligibility is 1 year. Like if I'm going to sign DJ Lagway, well, maybe he and his agent, they're looking for 2 years. And so we're looking at maybe $4 million as opposed to $8 million, right? The 1 year and the 2 year. Does that come into play when we talk about some of these schools and what they have to actually work with these guys? Because and I'll bring up a rumor that kind of hits home to us in Big 12 country. We'd heard scuttlebutt about DJ Lagway going to Baylor, right? But then at the same time, I'm hearing from people at Baylor like, well, that price tag's too high because there's a 2-year deal that he's looking for that's just, out of their price range. Where's the reality there? What are these guys looking for? 1 year, 2 year? What are you hearing and what are you reporting on?
It depends on the player. I mean, DJ had I believe a 3-year contract coming out of high school. So it was a pretty significant one. And every player is asking for something different. Some players want the long-term security and will take multiple years and sometimes a little bit of a discount to kind of get that on the books. But other guys are perfectly willing to go year to year. Obviously, graduate transfers are only going to be 1-year guys regardless. But yeah, it can really depend. And it can depend on the school too. Schools are looking for different things. Like some schools really like their true freshman quarterback, for example, but need a 1-year bridge guy to kind of bridge that gap. Other schools know they don't really have a guy from the 2025 class, the 2026 class, and really would like a guy with multiple years of eligibility. There aren't a ton of those in the portal at quarterback, but it's really situational. And I do think there is a premium placed if it's the right guy on a guy with multiple years, because that is an answer for a couple seasons instead of just one. And we've seen so many of these schools, be it Indiana or Miami, just have to go in the portal again and again for a quarterback.
What are you hearing about? We were talking before we got online with you about Drew Messamaker. I feel like there's questions around him because of the fact that, didn't play in a Power 4. They lost a huge game, like his big game on a big stage. And when you look at, I think it does sort of stick with you that 0 star, whatever it is, like, there is a little something to that brings a little stink to it. Where do you see him going, and what do you think his future looks like?
Well, he's not going to decide officially until after North Texas' bowl game. I've been told that, but we reported earlier this week that he's likely to go in the portal, and that's certainly the industry expectation and kind of the expectation around pretty much everybody around him too. So he'll be a popular guy. Obviously, he has multiple years. He's just a redshirt freshman this year. He could really play 3 more seasons of college football, which is crazy when you think of his production this year.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State's the favorite. I don't have a problem turning it that way. Like Eric Morris has been his coach for 2 seasons. Sean Brophy, his quarterback's coach, has done a lot to develop him. I think the relationship is very strong there. But he is a guy that, like, Oklahoma State is not one of the teams that you're going to see be an elite NIL place, at least right now in this moment. So there are going to be teams that potentially could throw bigger offers at Mestamaker, and he'll have to make that decision. But at least in this moment, I do consider Oklahoma State the favorite.
Well, with all your reporting and all the hard work you do, like just really on like the journalism side, and then this ever evolving time that we're in with college football, where like we're seeing conferences and football programs receive like an infusion of cash, right? Like this offseason in certain respects. How does that change the game where, maybe it's a school like Utah, right? Maybe they weren't playing with the full deck that a school, like BYU is down the street, but now they have, this, like I said, an infusion of cash. Like, is that changing like almost in real time, like how much these schools are have to work with and how attractive they are to some of these guys?
100%. I mean, Virginia just made the ACC championship game.
Yeah.
This time last year, Virginia had a huge donation that changed the course of the program. They were able to be more aggressive in the portal. They spent big to get their portal class, and they made the ACC championship game 10 months later. Like it can make a huge difference. And I think you're seeing when coaches sign contract extensions like Kalani Sitake at BYU, Eli Drinkowitz at Missouri, Clark Lee at Vanderbilt, they're doing so with announcements that also say there's an increased NIL contribution, an increased staff pool contribution. And that's for a reason. Like, it's very difficult to be successful in this era of college football without the backing and the resources needed to put a roster together. And I think of a situation like Arizona State right now. Like, Kenny Dillingham has been pretty open that he wants to stay at Arizona State. That's a different conversation, I suppose, but he's also been asking for increased NIL dollars. Like, Arizona State doesn't even take the full rev share. Like, they're one of the few P4 teams that doesn't pay out that full $20.5 million. And it makes it very difficult to put a competitive roster together. So as Kenny Dillingham has some of that leverage with other schools interested in him, you see him raising that issue. And I think that's a very common thing, and it can certainly change the direction of a program if you get it right.
One of the things that Texas Tech got right was almost casting a very wide net as far as their scouting was concerned prior to even certain guys being available at certain schools, right? Like, are other teams and football programs trying to almost copy that in a sense? Like, hey, like, we need to get our scouting game on, because what Texas Tech did was amazing and all these guys fit so well. Are you seeing some of that? Like, hey, we need to almost now outwork some of these other programs that have more money than us, other schools thinking that, because it's about finding the right fit.
Yeah, I mean, I think James Blanchard and that department at Texas Tech are really well respected in the industry. I think they work very hard. They take Blanchard, James, Brian Nance, and a couple other people over there. Like, they take a different approach than some people in terms of what they prioritize. They are a very analytics, numbers-based approach in the scouting department, and they do a great job. But I mean, for what it's worth, like, I think a lot of people in the industry would say like a big part of Texas Tech's success is the dollars kind of surrounding them.
Of course, yeah.
But I think Blanchard is an example of a movement in college athletics where general managers and the personnel staff are being empowered in a different way. And there's still very few schools that operate like Texas Tech, but I think we're seeing with Texas Tech this year that model can be very successful. And if you just hand the keys off to the people who watch the most film, the people who evaluate the most, you could have really good things happen for you.
Yeah, that's great intel on from you on that. Where is DJ Lagway leaning? And what do you think, what is the price tag for a guy like that?
Oh, it's early with DJ. I think he still has a lot of decisions to make. A lot of schools have come up, including Baylor, like you mentioned earlier, Louisville. Florida State's kicked the tires there. I think Miami and LSU could potentially as well, depending on the board shakes out. Even like Stanford has come up with me and DJ Lagway. Clemson has too. So there's still quite a while to go for DJ in this process. But I mean, DJ is a guy that's going to command a significant amount of money. It's just going to be a risk tolerance thing for schools. DJ, I've said this a couple times, has a number 1 overall draft pick potential. There's no question about that. His frame, his size, his skill set is good enough to be the number 1 pick in the 2027 draft. But after the season he had, kind of the stacking injuries he's had, he also carries a fair amount of risk. And DJ is a big enough name to where if he steps onto your campus, he's going to scare away your other quarterbacks. He's also going to command a significant sum. An above average P4 starter is going to command anywhere from $2 to $3 million on the open market as a quarterback. And like the best ones are over $3 million. So DJ is going to get a very competitive offer, and it's going to be up to teams to weigh like what he can be versus what we saw this year, and put the best evaluation forward you can.
Are you seeing the goalposts move like during negotiations? For instance, like, you know, when a guy gets, you mentioned if a quarterback like Lagway or Raiola gets $4 million, you know, if I'm now Josh Hoover's agent and am I looking for 3.5? Like, are we constantly moving forward, you know, almost like slotting in the NFL draft?
Yeah, of course. There's always going to be people trying to increase the dollar figure year over year. And I mean, we're only 2 years away from Cam Ward being the most expensive player in college football. And he was making, I believe, like 1.8 to 2 for Miami when he went there. And now the most expensive college football player is Darian Mensah, and he's making 4 with incentives. And this cycle, I definitely believe we're going to see a couple quarterbacks over the $4 million mark. So it keeps climbing. Schools are definitely trying to, excuse me, schools are trying to slot positions, but it's difficult because there is a rev share number, but like the numbers that come on top, excuse me, the NIL money that comes on top is nebulous. Like some schools have a lot of it, some schools have a little of it, and it only takes 1 or 2 schools that have a lot of it to drive the market crazy. And I mean, we're seeing a market like that in Lubbock, Texas. Like Texas Tech, a couple teams would tell you screwed up the market, but I don't think they care because they won a Big 12 championship and have a chance to win a national championship.
Where did, like, by the way, I know you're a Texas guy. Where'd you go to school?
I went to the University of Texas.
Okay, so you're a UT guy. Did you study journalism there, I'm guessing?
I did, yeah.
Did you ever think that you would be like tracking, like even when you were in school, like did you think that it was going to be like this? Like literally you work for 24/7. It is 24/7. Portal News right now. You're on your phone right now. Like, is it nonstop for you?
It is, yeah. I mean, I'm not complaining. Like, I love my job, but haven't had a day off in like 2 months, basically. Like, that's just how it is this time of year, and it'll be that way through February. And no, like, I would have never anticipated covering college football transfer movement when I was studying journalism. I mean, like, when I was in school, I mean, I'm not that old, but when I was in school, like, kids couldn't even transfer within the same conference, and they had to sit out a year if they did. Like, it's changed exponentially the last like 10 or 15 years. So
without revealing any kind of sources or anything, who do you get most of your information from? Do you talk to the players themselves? You know, I know you're probably in contact with agents a lot and folks affiliated with programs, but like, you know, who do you talk to develop these big stories? Like, you know, how many contacts do you have and sources do you have?
Oh, I don't know a number. You try to talk to as many people as you can and build authentic relationships where you can. The nature of the business is some stuff is more transactional than others, but I always prefer to get to know a person. I don't have a number. I would say like this time of year, taking 20 or 30 phone calls and sending 60 to 70 different people texts a day. And sometimes it's a lot more. So it just, and I'm not even, there are people that do way more than me. So it's just, it's an interesting.
No, come on now. You do a hell of a job. You are literally the transfer portal source. You do an amazing job. I'm looking at your list right now. We've got Dylan Raiola at 5. A guy like that, where is the market for him right now? How much interest is he receiving from, you know, college football programs? You know, Joey McGuire kind of shut it down. Like, hey, like, well, we're good over here. Like, is there any, I guess, what's the talk or scuttlebutt around him as far as what kind of guy and player he would be at a school?
I mean, Dylan's an interesting one. He's obviously extremely talented. He was a 5-star quarterback for a reason, but Dylan also made a significant amount of money this year. He was at 3.5, according to my sources. And the demands for Dylan are high. So you have to find a team that's willing to match not only the dollar figure, but kind of everything that comes with Dylan Raiola. And also, like, Dylan's a guy that's coming off an injury, and I think the tape is good, but it's not, if you talk to teams, it's good, but maybe not elite. So it's just kind of it's a balancing thing where, like, maybe if you get him in the right system with the right players, he can turn into a first-round pick, but you also have to balance the request on the other side of that, and if it makes sense from your Excel sheet, I suppose.
Is there a dude right now in the portal who you really like? who you believe will land with the team this year and sort of really be a pleasant surprise for all of college football? Is there a dark horse right now that you say, oh, this guy, people are going to love him?
You talking about a quarterback or
quarterback?
I think if you haven't watched Colton Joseph, the Old Dominion quarterback, you should. He maybe not the most elite passer of the football, but he is a dynamic runner. He's one of those people that just kind of makes plays out of structure all the time. He's a really fun watch. He's going to be at a P4 school next year. So if you haven't seen him play, I'd recommend it. Also, Jaden Craig coming out of Harvard is going to be a really popular guy. He's a guy that scouts think could be a draft pick right now if he left, and he can help the right team next year. So those are two guys I would take a look at.
Is there a particular program, just a couple more things for you before I let you out of here. Is there a particular program that most of the high profile guys would like to go play for, whether it's because of success, whether it's because of the cash flow they're dealing with? Is there a program you see like a lot of guys going towards or would like to be at where there's just a log jam, right? Like they don't have enough room for guys. Any big time programs turning away guys that where it surprises you?
Oh, I don't know about turning away, but it's the same schools as always, right? It's your Texas, it's your Oregon, it's your Georgia, it's your Alabama, it's your Ohio State. Like they're always going to have first right of refusal. A lot of people would like to play for Texas Tech right now as well. Like so, it's the same schools you think of every year. But like we're not in an era where you're turning away everyone anymore. Like you're trying to keep your roster intact as best as possible, and also at least the smart teams being targeted about who they go after in the portal.
Chaz Coleman's the number one guy right now ranked in your portal. Leaving Penn State, going somewhere else. How much money does a guy like that command? Not a quarterback, but an edge guy who would command a lot in the NFL and clearly is a game changer.
He's going to be a $1.5+ million player. Like no question.
Okay. And do you ever hear anything about like how the locker room responds to guys walking in, making like, $5 million or $2 million? Have you ever heard stories about guys maybe having difficulty navigating or gaining the trust and, I guess love from their team?
I think it was more of an issue early in the NIL era. It can still be a bit of a prickly thing, especially if a player is making a really big dollar and everybody's aware of that. But I think it's become more normalized now. It's not a professional locker room, but it's close. But yeah, I mean, early on, absolutely. Like, I mean, that Texas A&M #1 recruiting class, there's a reason why the Jimbo Fisher era kind of fell apart the way it did. It wasn't all to do with the money, but it certainly had something to do with it.
What are you working on right now? What should we be looking for from Chris Hummer?
Well, I got a couple of calls to return once I get off here, but hopefully some decent stuff over the next couple of days and weeks.
Get to it. We'll be checking you out on Twitter, man. We appreciate you taking the time joining us this morning, Chris.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, brother. Take it easy. Oh, I love having a dude like that on. I mean, literally, it's like he's talking to us and his phone's blowing up. I mean, it is that time of year. Remember, the portal opens January 2nd, and I think it goes through the 14th. And it's not as though people are waiting to the 2nd to announce what they're doing, where they're going, or their availability. Man, it's just I feel like I wouldn't call Chris like a gatekeeper per se, but it is really interesting. There are certain people who are involved in certain aspects of this sport right now, in major college sports that literally are dealing with information and building relationships every day that I think would some of the information that they glean from these relationships and some of the stuff they're seeing and doing, I think would shock you. Like I'm doing a Baylor game tonight and I'll be working with David Kay. And I know without giving away any like crazy secrets, like David Kay is very involved in that kind of stuff with the folks at Baylor and money and agents and all that stuff. It's just super interesting. And what a super interesting time in college sports. And truly, this is like one of those deals where, and Hummer was a great example. He just kind of rolls with it. Like this is like a gut check for everybody as far as this is life. Like things change. Being flexible is obviously the best thing you can do in an environment like this in college football. It's like, the strongest trees, right? They're able to survive the hurricanes. They stay flexible. And like, I think we're going to see that in college football and some of these personalities. Like if you can't evolve and adjust to what's going on, you're either not going to want to work in the sport anymore, you're going to leave, or you're not going to adapt and you're going to do poorly. But it's like one of two things you can do, or you can adapt and be successful. The Pete Sousa Show, we're coming back with a little more. We are live here from the Alico building in Waco, Texas. We're presented by Slovacics, and we'll step aside and be back after this short break, after these messages.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
All right, Swingler. You said you got something lined up for us. What do you got?
Pete, you know it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
And this is my second Christmas as a father,
Aww.
which is really meaningful, as you can imagine. And I was hanging out with my daughter yesterday. I took her to the park. It was so nice outside. She went down a slide for the first time. Loved it. Wanted to do it over and over and over. But I'm starting to think, now that my daughter's 18 months old, like, at some point you got to start instilling values and principles in your kids. And that's kind of frightening, you know? Well, yesterday, I don't know if you saw this. It went kind of viral. A kid at a Christmas pageant stood up for his values and principles. And I got to be honest with you, it was a really, really beautiful thing. Let's watch this clip.
Yeah, please.
Dude, that's exactly what Twitter is saying. It's
Oh,
like,
really?
He's even got the Kirby Smart haircut. Yeah. So kid is a Georgia fan. And of course, at that age, we presume that just means mom and dad are big Georgia fans. And he was raised right in his household. That inspired me as a dad. I was like, that's going to be Marigold. If anyone tries to make her sing the Aggie War hymn, we're just going to cross our arms and shake our head, right? Well, a friend of the show, David Pollock, got the interview of the year, and I want you to listen to what this young man said about that moment.
Music teacher had us sing a whole bunch of songs,
Okay.
and one of those songs was Rocky Top, sadly, and I'm never gonna sing that trash. So
Why won't you sing Rocky Top?
it's a horrible song. Who knows?
I'm never gonna sing that trash. To that kid's parents, I'm not even a Georgia fan, but to that kid's parents, I say, well done. Well done. Just incredible content there, Pete. And David Pollock scoring the interview of the year.
Love
with
it.
the young man who stood up for his values.
Dude, that's amazing.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it is great. No, do we know where he was?
That's a great question.
He's got to be in Tennessee, right?
I would presume so.
Right.
Here,
But you never know. It could have been part of some kind of show they were doing where they had to sing Rocky Top. Too,
right.
you know?
Right.
Like, I know I grew up in Philadelphia, right? And in Bryn Mawr, PA, and at St. Thomas Good Counsel, I know all the words to Oklahoma because we performed that. It was in our talent show. You know, Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain.
Yeah.
Where the waving wheat will still smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain. I think I got a couple lyrics wrong, but
I'm not seeing any reports about where he is, which is probably good. We don't want any creepy doxing kids or whatever.
Not going to
but a lot of folks saying like true patriot, God bless this patriot. Both Jack Mack from Barstool and David Pollock retweeting the clip saying it just means more.
It just means more.
Dan Wetzel, young Georgia fan, refuses to sing Rocky Top. Legend.
I'm sure Wetzel's like, finally, I get to tweet or comment on something like that's not Sharon Moore. Thank God.
Yeah. Lots of love for this kid, though.
I like that.
Yeah.
I also like this, but I think there's a little bit of a underbelly to it. Arch Manning, this year or this week, yesterday specifically, later in the day, it was announced that he's reportedly going to take less money from the University of Texas's direct revenue sharing pool for 2026 to help the team build a better roster. That's kind of like a pro athlete, right? Like Tom Brady saying, I'm going to take less so we can make our team better. Let's continue to this with this report. Through his major endorsement deals, okay, which is not a part of that. We're talking Red Bull, Warby Parker, etc. They're going to be unaffected. Yeah, okay. This comes after his overall NIL valuation dipped from $6 million to about $3.6 million during the 2025 season because of his on-field performance. So that dropped him from the number one college athlete in that spot as far as NIL is concerned. So his real NIL is not affected by this at all, right? Like that is the Warby Parker stuff, all that. It is a noble gesture, and I like it. And it's funny because we just talked with Chris Hummer about how locker rooms, right? Like, how are they affected by this, by guys getting paid this much? I don't think I didn't hear anything out of Texas that this was an issue at all. But certainly in the other direction, if you have a guy, regardless of really what it is on paper, right? Like, because you can go back and you can say, oh, okay. It's kind of like when Deion Sanders signed with the Cowboys. Like, okay, here's what it said over here. But like, how is Jerry paying him over here? You know, it's like, there's all kinds of ways to circumvent caps. And I think NIL, particularly if you're Arch Manning, you're going to have NIL for days. So you could be a negative nabobber and be like, this doesn't mean anything. I'm going to take the opposite approach. I think it means something. I think that it's positive for him and probably positive for that team going forward, because ultimately, if he takes less, they will have an opportunity to get guys to play on the field, right? Who can help the team win. You'd never think of Texas being at a loss for revenue, but when you're playing the game, right, and you have maybe the best left tackle in the country who you can pay, $1.5 million to, and off the field, it's like really legitimately, what's this guy going to be able to drum up NIL wise? Like nothing anywhere near a quarterback like Arch Manning can drum up. So I do think like you can look at this at face value and be, it doesn't matter. Arch Manning's getting so much money anyways. No. It's similar to Tom Brady. Like at the end of the day, it affects the bottom line and what your cap is, right, in college. So I think that's super important. And I really appreciate that. Like what he's doing. I think it's really bright, and I think it lacks ego, and it's extremely thoughtful. A couple other things I wanted to talk about, or one more thing actually. Joe Burrow. Do we have that tweet, Scotty, or that social media post?
So I let you down. That was fake. I tried to verify it. That was fake. I know. But it's still a good topic because the dude's been cryptic.
So we got fooled.
I got fooled. I won't lump you in with me.
Well, that's all
I
right.
got fooled by a fake post.
So there was a post that was put up, and Joe Burrow said, like, it's been great, Cincinnati.
Yeah, but
with
it was
the peace
fake.
sign.
It was
quickly
fake. AI, you can't trust anything these days.
I also saw another phony post that said Daryl Johnston was going to be the new head coach of the UFL team or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, but look, this is a good topic though, because he's been asked pretty directly in press conferences recently about his future, and he's like, you think about a lot of things, And you pointed out to me, what was that stat you sent me?
Well, this is a fact. So listen to this, guys, and hang on to your hats. Andrew Luck retired, and when he did, he had been sacked in his career like 30 times less than Joe Burrow has already been sacked.
Yeah.
So, and I ask you this, Scotty, like, is it the chicken or the egg? Like, the Bengals organization is notorious for just sucking ass.
Yeah.
Like, and it's very real. Like, the Brown family still owns the team.
Well, and how incredible is he for getting them to a Super Bowl?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, dude, I told you I listened to the entire Bussin' with the Boys with Coach O, and Coach O can be a little dramatic. But like,
you don't say.
He tells the stories like, look, man, he said during Burrow's recruiting visit, because he was at Ohio State, and they took him someplace. First of all, they take him to a crawfish place. The crawfish place is out of crawfish. So Coach O calls up one of his Louisiana guys and is like, "Hey, I need you to get crawfish over here ASAP." And they came through the kitchen with crawfish. Like Joe didn't know any better. He thought it came from there. So that's good. When they're done the visit, like they're done dinner, Coach O basically was like, I took him out to the parking lot and said to him, if you come to LSU, we're going to win the national championship and you're going to win the Heisman. If you don't, I'm going to get fired. Like, it's like, that's it. Like, he was like, I knew.
And he was right.
Yeah. He said, I knew this guy could change my entire life. He said, I knew that. And he said, I didn't watch one lick of film on him. It was from what everybody else around me had told me. So he was pretty honest in the fact, like, I'm out there blowing smoke. Like, I know this guy's game frontwards and backwards. But he's like, from what I had been told by all the people I trust, I knew this guy was going to save my career. And he did. He prolonged it, put life into it, made him a lot of money. And then, of course, it was what it was. But, like, Joe Burrow in another organization, I think is like, whoa. I really do believe that it could rock the National Football League.
Well, listen,
I just said National Football League.
Listen, there's a lot of teams that could get scary if they got Joe Burrow. I think I mentioned to you, I would be thinking about if I had like a quarterback on the edge of retirement, if I'm the Rams, if I'm the Steelers, I'm probably picking up the phone. Think about the Minnesota Vikings, Pete.
I mean, for sure.
Like, what if that team had Joe Burrow? Like, there's a lot of teams where, man, I don't know if he's thinking retirement or he's just tired of Cincinnati, but I would be picking up the phone. Joe Burrow, unless you've got Josh Allen or Lamar or Patty Mahomes, who's now recovering from an ACL, like, he's an upgrade over anybody else in the NFL, isn't he? He's still that guy. He's still that guy.
I'm calling this up right now. So here you go. Here's your top tier quarterbacks. Okay. Patrick Mahomes still.
Yeah.
Right? Josh Allen.
Yeah.
How about, and then you can correct me, dude, but like, then we don't fall off a cliff, but we welcome a new guy to the club, Drake May.
Yeah.
Okay.
This season for sure.
Then you got Jared Goff, then Justin Herbert.
That's falling off a cliff.
Yeah. And then after Justin Herbert is Jordan Love.
What are you looking at, by the way?
I'm looking at like an NFL.com listing. This is based on their stats this year, pretty much. But it's, subjective, obviously. Jordan Love, I said. And then another guy who's kicking ass now this year, CJ Stroud. Is like, and good for him. I thought he was going to be like a Jaden Daniels type deal, like back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have Stroud. Would you rather have Dak Prescott or CJ Stroud?
I don't know. Probably Dak, the way he's played this year.
Okay. And then look at this. Lamar.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy. I think Jalen, by the way, real quick. All right. I'm going to be wearing my Hurts season t-shirt soon because it is Hurts season. This is when we get everything together. It is such garbage. People like in Philadelphia talking about Jalen Hurts, like, dude,
he just won you a Super Bowl, dog.
We won, and he did it in dominant fashion. And like, I'm not putting him in the same category, but like, does anybody remember all the big games Peyton Manning lost? Like, really,
for real.
Like this is life as a quarterback.
Yeah,
like you go through, like there's peaks, there's valleys, and for people, specifically my Philadelphia brethren, to be like, oh my God, like we need to, honestly, dude, he doesn't need to be benched. Like, get your head out of your ass, Philadelphia.
I'm with you.
Like, it is such a joke. And I really believe, like, I don't want to say like there's shit stirrers on like the local sports talk radio level in Philly, but there are. I mean, I do want to say it, and I am saying it. Like, stop spewing nonsense and getting people all riled up. Like, ultimately, I do believe, and I hate to say this because you think that guys can filter everything out. Ultimately, it's not good for the team you want to play well. When you have a city full of people shitting on a quarterback who does, by the way, everything right off the field. And I know that that's not the overwhelming majority of the city, but there's a sect who wants to see Jalen Hurts benched. That's insanity, dude.
Yeah, it is.
It's insanity. And it's like, and the popular quarterback or the most popular guy in town has always been the backup quarterback. And it has not changed. It hasn't changed, Scotty.
Yeah, you're right. And I've always thought Jalen's a lot better than people give him credit for. High school, college, NFL, all he does is win.
Yeah.
Win. By the way, for as much as we revere Aaron Rodgers as the greatest passer of all time, Jalen Hurts has just as many Super Bowl rings and has actually been to more Super Bowls now. Do with that what you will. Like, do I think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback? Sure. Results? Nah. Like, Jalen Hurts has gotten you results, and he's a good kid. Here's my question, Pete, about Joe. We saw this with the Lions and the Rams, flipping starting quarterbacks. and it immediately got the Rams a Super Bowl. And honestly, it probably made the Lions better too. Like they haven't quite gotten to that Super Bowl level, but like I think they're perfectly happy that they got Jared Goff. Is there any trade partner in the NFL that it makes sense for them to call Cincinnati this week and be like, we'll swap? And I don't know why it would make sense for Cincinnati. That's where I struggle with this question. But who would be a potential trade partner? You're looking at that list of quarterbacks.
Well, I'll tell you who could use them. But this guy's damaged goods. Like the Dolphins could really use a guy like Joe Burrow.
So here's the difference though. If I'm Burrow, I'm retiring if it's the Dolphins or if it's the Jets, or if it's the Browns. Like I have no interest in if you're dissatisfied with the Bengals, you need to be with a good order.
That's a great point.
Is it Brock Purdy who just signed a deal? Can we flip Purdy for Burrow and a pick?
But how pissed would Brock Purdy be?
But how psyched would Burrow be to go play for Kyle Shanahan?
What about the Rams in a sense where Matthew Stafford is,
could it be the Rams?
Yeah.
That makes sense to me for the Rams. I don't know if it makes sense for the Bengals. Could it be the Seahawks? Darnold's good, but the dude cratered in the playoffs last season. That's why Minnesota ran him out of town.
Yeah.
Seahawks might be a quarterback away. I think there's a lot of possibilities here where I don't know if I'm a GM. I wouldn't trade Jalen Hurts, but Howie Roseman's a crafty dude. Does he get on the phone and say, hey, Hurts in a pick?
and look, that's a great example because Howie Roseman has stayed one step ahead.
He's a crafty guy, man.
Yeah.
He's a crafty guy. Maybe I thought of this one this morning and I just didn't text it to you. Is it the Giants? Hey, we'll give you Jackson Dart, which for the Bengals, that might be, that's more runway. That's a future. Oh, we don't have to worry about drafting a guy. And for the Giants, it makes you instantly better next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just think there's a lot of scenarios where I'm like, okay, what's the team that could swoop in and keep Burrow's career?
Do you feel like Joe Burrow has ran out of gas in any way?
Seems like it on the podium, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
But I mean, as a player.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. If I have to win a game tomorrow, Pete, I'm putting Mahomes out there first. I'm putting Josh Allen out there second. I'm probably putting Hurts out there pretty high, but dang, dude, I have trouble putting a lot of people over Burrow. Herbert, no way. No way. Baker, maybe, but he's faltered this season. I just don't know. Who am I putting above Joe Burrow? Clearly, except for Allen and Mahomes.
There's one guy, and this is just before we wrap up, there's one quarterback who I think it's fun to keep an eye on because he is having a little bit of a renaissance, is Trevor Lawrence.
Dude.
Because that's another organization that sucks.
Yeah.
For
sure.
If Trevor Lawrence was playing for the Broncos.
I like their new GM, though. He's my age.
He is?
Yeah, he's 33 or 34. The guy that drafted Travis Hunter and was we're going to tell Travis to be Travis. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I keep an eye on Trevor Lawrence. That's all I'm saying. He's still very young.
I can't decide if he's good or not, man.
Neither can I, but it's so hard to decide anything when he's playing for the Jags.
Yeah. Well, and I brought up Darnold a second ago. It's a great example. When you play for a really bad organization, I think we still underestimate how much it harms a quarterback's production, right? Yeah. Darnold now, extremely productive and good for the Vikings, being extremely productive and good for the Seahawks this season. Just sucks that he got drafted to the Jets,
Yeah.
We've seen it happen with other guys too. RG3's career was over in Cleveland. And then he goes and was Lamar's backup for 4 seasons in Baltimore because he could still play. You just never know what a good organization could do for you. So I would totally buy. Lawrence has not been good in the NFL. But if his next contract is with the Rams or the 49ers or it won't be Denver because they've got Bo Nix. But an organization that we're oh, that's a top class organization. Would it surprise you if he's great? No.
You really took a dump on the Dolphins. Are they one of the worst organizations in football?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, the Tyreek Hill situation this year, Mike McDaniel, that place is a mess, dude. They owe Tua all this money. That was a bad deal, Pete. It was a bad deal. When
but I don't know that put it this way. If I got traded to the Dolphins, they're not the Bengals. And here's what I mean.
They're not better than the Bengals.
Yeah, but I'm talking about ownership and like Stephen Ross still owns the Dolphins, right? Like I don't know. Does he suck as an owner? Maybe he does. Maybe I've got
I'm
this
not
all
convinced
wrong.
that's a better organization than the Bengals. I feel like for me, it's like there's a top tier of bad, and it's pretty exclusively like Jets and Browns.
Okay.
And then like I would put both the Dolphins and the Bengals kind of in that next tier of bad, if it were me.
You think Shador will force his way out of Cleveland?
He better if he wants to have a career in the NFL.
All right,
I mean, seriously. But who's going to take him, Pete? Nobody would take him through 5 rounds of the draft.
Yeah.
Who's going to take Shador Sanders right now? Jerry as a backup to Dak? Maybe. But he's not going to play. Yeah, but he's not going to have a career if he stays in Cleveland.
Oh, I will say one thing. I wanted to say this earlier in the week. You can take the Bengals thing down. This is perfect. Some would say apropos. I got my Raiders hat on. Okay. This is what the Raiders are going to do to fix the Raiders.
I took this title card off this morning.
Oh, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. So the Raiders, okay, there is something crazy that they're going to do. And I had already thought about this. And this offseason, Pete Carroll's going to go, right? John Gruden will be hired by the Raiders. This is if I was in charge. You got to remember, Mark Davis is still Al Davis's son, okay? They did not want to part ways with John Gruden. They were forced to because of the NFL and that nightmare situation, right? That John Gruden, you know, he has owned some of that really ugly stuff, okay? And I think his reputation has been resuscitated, rejuvenated, and I think now he's become sort of a caricature of himself in the most positive light possible. And unless something has changed, the guy can still coach his ass off. Okay, so you bring back John Gruden, and then what you do is you bring back your old quarterback, right? And so
Derek Carr? Who are we talking about?
Yes. Thank you, Scotty.
That dude's retired
For now. Okay. And he retired too early. He's still very young as a stretch, but he's still young. If you can get Gruden back, you can get Derek Carr back. And then what you can do, and here's my point. As a guy who grew up a hardcore Eagles fan, right? But was intoxicated with NFL films and John Madden and Al Davis and the Raiders and Lester Hayes and John Matuzak, Ted Hendricks. These guys were outlaws. You know, we didn't know what they did at night, but we knew they showed up on Sunday and they were going to kick your ass, right? Lyle Alzado, Howie Long. I mean, Howie Long said it. I used to watch this video when I was a kid before I would play football. And this is like before I was like a little psycho in grade school, right? Before I would play football in grade school. It was called Crunch Course. And it was about the NFL's like hardest hits. Honestly, if they made a video like this now, I think whoever would make it would get arrested, you know, because it was an ugly video as today's standards go. But Howie Long, you know, pretty much he said, when I was drafted by the Raiders, they gave me a helmet and they told me you're going to play defensive end for I think it was the LA Raiders. And he said, and that was it. And I went out there and I just kicked ass. I was who I was. Like that mentality, right? That like commitment to excellence and just win, baby. And that Al Davis mystique is completely gone. Completely gone. That fan base, like I check in on them. And honestly, I have this hat on today. It's totally random. I just love the Raiders. That fan base I've never, ever, ever seen a Raider fan base apathetic. But they are that now. The team going to Vegas has stripped them of all that grit, right, and intimidation that their fan base used to bring. I mean, when I was before I started doing play-by-play, I did spotting, and I was spotting for Matt Devlin, my buddy, and he did a Raiders game for Fox. He did the Raiders game with Tony Siragusa, R.I.P. R.I.P. Right? So I'm spotting for Devlin, and Tony Siragusa is the color analyst. This was before I stopped drinking. I've never been a good driver, but I was driving us to the stadium over the, not the Bay Bridge, but the other bridge. People always get them mixed up. And I was driving, and I was like just doing my thing. I had like my hand up here, and I'm driving, and Siragusa's riding shotgun. And he's like, dude, do you have a car? And I remember Devlin was like, no, he doesn't even have a car in Charlotte. And he's like, you need to go back to Charlotte. You need to rent a car, and you need to practice. This is Tony Siragusa. I'm like, ooh. Anyways, and this is like, you want to know about your 10,000 hours and like getting nervous to perform before kickoff. And this goes back to, this was at the old Coliseum in Oakland. This goes back to the Raiders and their intimidation factor and their fans. This Raiders team sucked. They were playing Arizona. I mean, Matt Devlin would tell you himself, he was calling NFL games at the time. He was like, NFL and Fox, like 7th crew, 6th crew, right? Like he was kind of one of those guys. He was getting a crack at doing big time games. And so obviously the game was not like a featured game of the weekend. It was Arizona and it was Oakland. And it was terrifying in that place. Like I was spotting for Matt. And they had honored John Madden at the game. John Madden had been inducted into the Hall of Fame the previous summer. I think this was 2006 or 2007. So Madden was honored before the game. Place was electric. We're starting the game, right? Scotty, the scoreboard went out over here. So they're starting the game. I just want to turn it back on because I'm kind of feeling it here. We might clip this and put this up. So they start the game, okay? And I'm going to point at the guy because I'm spotting for Matt Devlin. The spotter points out, who's back to return the kick, who's kicking off. And I'm going to point, and my hand's shaking, dude. It's so loud. I'm nervous. I'm probably very hungover too. I'm sure that contributed. And I have spotters now when I call games. Like, you don't want your spotter to be nervous. You might have a little like tinge of being nervous. And I remember Matt Devlin and I are so close, he's coming to my wedding. And I'm like, and I go to point, and he goes, are you nervous? I was like, yeah. But I say that to say, leaving, first of all, that black hole, that stuff was real. That place was scary for an innocent bystander like me, let alone someone who was on the other end of that vigor, right? That like fire and brimstone, like you experienced hell when you were a quarterback and you were driving towards the black hole. Now you go to Las Vegas and it's a goddamn amusement park, right? Allegiant Stadium is more like the Raiders version of Disney World, right? It's soft. Opponents aren't scared to go play there. Like, the team sucks and the environment blows. It's now become one of those stadiums where it's not quite like LA Chargers deal, but the Cowboys travel well. But when you watch that, I watched that Monday night game. When the Cowboys would make a play, it sounded like it does at the Super Bowl. Because you got to believe the Cowboys are in town. A lot of the Raiders fans are going to go see their team play the Cowboys, right? So it's like felt 50-50, and there was not like an overwhelming charge put into the stadium when the Raiders would make a play. It was like the pop you get at a Super Bowl, like, oh, more of that, like a weird, like sprinkled throughout the stadium type ovation or inspiration from your fan base. That's the exact opposite, dude, of what that stadium and what that environment, not that particular stadium, but what the environment the Raiders used to produce. John Gruden can bring that back, okay? And forget Derek Carr. That might be a bit of a reach, okay? But I said it. But John Gruden will bring that back. And here's why I think it could happen. Because it's a great opportunity for another Davis, Mark Davis, this is for you, for another Davis, a true Raider, to stick up the middle finger at the NFL and say, you know what? This has gone far enough, right? Like and by the way, I mean, they're responsible for this going far enough, but they're saying this has gone far enough. And although you may not agree with this, and although it may ruffle feathers on Park Avenue in New York, we're taking him. John Gruden's back as the head coach of the Raiders. And I'm telling you, with that, one of the most important organizations in not just the NFL, all of sports, will be at least experiencing a pulse and a heartbeat. And all those people, right? Those Raider fans who've spent their whole life supporting this team. I'm talking about blue-collar folks who work as UPS guys from Monday to Friday and dress up like somebody who, if you open the door on Halloween expecting a terrifying presence, you would still be scared shitless, right? That's who that Raider fan is, right? But now those people are just working at UPS and saying, screw it. I'm not going to that game. And look, for a while there, and I'm sure there are Raider fans are so special. I'm sure there's many who are still making the trek from LA to Oakland every year or every Sunday that the Raiders are home. But it's just not there anymore, man. Like this, the Raiders are special, dude. And somehow we've allowed them to slip into obscurity and their fans into apathy. We got to fix that. John Gruden's the solution. The Pete Sousa Show will be live on Monday from Miami because I have a basketball game there on Sunday, right? For ESPN. And the next time I turn on ESPN and there's a big story about the Raiders, I hope it's January and they're hiring John Gruden. How about that? All right, we'll see you Monday.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.